pay types, and then we provided another top level, another step 6, and then we did some pay improvements for the department heads. So you would notice the chief and the public works director are now there's some parity with those positions, and we added another $250 a month in there, and then another $500 a month the clerk treasurer position. We're still under what other communities are, but we've made vast improvements in the last 6 years, 7 years. I believe we have nearly doubled the pay for all of our employees. So our pay, a decade ago was very poor. We weren't paying our staff very well. So we've gotten much more competitive. We've got the employees are getting paid much better than they were in the past. So we put that into the expense sheet. We're not balanced. So it's gonna take some more work, and we're somewhere around 100,000 over at this point. But we're gonna do some more finessing of the budget, and we would like to be able to make these salary improvements to our staff. So that's where that's at. Have you had a chance to look at it?
You guys?
For us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions so far?
Not yet.
This budget, if we can make it work, we would have 3 full-time police officers and the chief. So we're bringing on 1 additional FTE in the police department. We believe we're able to do that because of with the increase in the SRO contract. It's almost a 1-for-1. So, we've gone from getting $19,000 a year from the school to getting almost 60. And then we are going to, we're attempting to make the parks coordinator position a full-time position, but it wouldn't just be the parks coordinator tasks. We would be rolling those tasks into a public works clerk position. We feel that the public works department could use some help with the administrative functions and coordinating. This position would be responsible for billing for the septic receiving station, would be responsible for scheduling classes, coordinating the daily duties of the public works department, supporting the public works director administratively, handling all the administrivia that is needed to be done to support the public works department. And then we would be continuing with the code enforcement building official position, and they would be moved to public safety, so that we feel that position, the code enforcement position, is best kind of housed within public safety. So it is a kind of a subordinate to the police chief. And those are the big staff changes.
Why would you make the building inspector subordinate to the police chief instead of you?
A lot of the responsibilities of the code enforcement officer are law enforcement by nature. So being able to access the records system, being able to pull reports and assign like a case number to each investigation and just kind of add some formality to the code enforcement officer's investigative abilities. Any case, any complaint, somebody's got garbage piling up in the front yard. Now that's, there's a complaint form and it's just kind of treated like that. We would be actually assigning a case number to it, and then any subsequent contacts would fall under that assigned number. And the chief of police has the most knowledge and experience dealing with investigations, referrals to a court system if necessary, and we feel that the supervision that is needed for code enforcement is best done at a public safety level.
Okay.
A lot of places they're a limited commission officer, so they're not. They are an officer of the court. A code enforcement official is an officer of the court, but not not like a general purpose police officer. They get a limited commission that just focuses on that aspect of law, which is municipal codes.
Yeah. What I would suggest that you do then is to change the description so that future people understand why it was put in that position. It's not locked in, but you have a much better chance of it staying that way if you have a clear understanding for future office holders to understand why it was done.
Okay.
Thank
okay.
you.
We'll take a look at the job description.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this would put us at 15 FTEs.
So are you looking to?
Okay. Go ahead.
Are you looking to add one more officer, not counting the one that's over at the school? So we have three officers on the road now, one at the school. Are you looking to
Correct.
add one more? So just those four? Because in the summertime.
We currently have Officer Lee, Officer Johnson, Officer McClellan, and Officer Backus. Officer Backus is a provisional in a temporary spot. We would be looking to make that position permanent.
Okay, so that's your fourth.
So the SRO position, so it would be 4.
Okay.
Did I say 3 earlier?
No, I just wanted clarification. It sounded like we may be looking for a 4th full-time officer and keeping the SRO as it was.
And we have somebody in that position. It's a temporary status. The council approved us to hire a provisional officer this year. And that was, one of the officers was in the academy. And so we've got the funds for a provisional officer for, I want to say, like 6 months. So we have hired somebody into that position, and we would like to
move them to full-time.
Make that a permanent position.
Okay. Are we looking for possibly, in this thinking ahead, because at one time Tenino had 5 full-time officers, that's including the road chief. Are we looking possibly next year for a 5th one? Since we do have
We haven't talked about it yet, but in the 2023 budget that you have before you, we're funding 4 full-time officers and 1 full-time chief.
Yeah,
so there's 5.
I understand that. I'm just looking down the road because we're getting close to that 2,000 mark, and we had 5 when we were at something like 14, under 1,500. You know, that
I think we're going to see what happens in 23. There could be some things that kind of change depending on what happens tonight
Okay, thank you.
at the auditor's office.
Yeah,
Okay, if there are no further questions, you've got our most recent numbers. Again, these are not final, but we're kind of in the ballpark. Those are yours. Take home, study, work on. If you have any questions, I'm available. Jen's available, and get them to us. We'll again have another budget workshop at our next meeting, and we'll have more refined numbers. So let us get into
I don't know if he can see me.
He can see you.
Okay. Looking at the fuel costs, you've got 4,000 per vehicle. Is that going to be enough? How much did we use this year?
We feel it is. That is what the police department requested.
It should tell you in the blue column what we've used so far.
I don't have blue columns. I have,
Oh, you're in the, never mind, you're in the different column.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
We're just gonna cut a hole in the floor of the cars and they can just
Fred
Flintstone it
Flintstone.
all over town. Yeah.
Yeah.
When not that far.
4,000.
Yeah.
So that means we're gonna have to have more officers so Barney can put the brakes on.
All right.
All right, George, would you like to come up and give your report on Steady, Arch, BCB, EDC, Chamber of Commerce?
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, council members. It's kind of repeat from the last meeting, but just want to make sure you know about our fall social next week on Wednesday, 6 o'clock at the Kodiak Room, and it's for the business community, and we're also inviting the nonprofits in the community, and we'd like to invite council to be there if you're able to attend. We are working on the holiday market. That's going to be the 25th through the 27th. That'll be at the Kodiak Room as well. We're working on the Christmas tree lighting. That'll be December 2nd, 6 p.m. We'll shut down the street. The motorcycles will go at 6:45. Then 7 o'clock, the band and the choir will play, and then we'll have the tree lighting at that time. That's going to be at Valley View again. And then that night after that, the chamber will have an auction. And then from the EDC, just to remind you, we have our Business Expo on December 1st at Great Wolf Lodge. And then Steady, we're going to meet next week on the 18th at 8 a.m. at Rainier at the Senior Center. And then December 16th, we'll be meeting in Sweet Hall to finish out the year. And then on the Arts Commission, we've got a meeting tentatively scheduled for next Thursday, the 17th at 4 p.m., as long as I can confirm all of our Arts Commission members are able to attend. From the VCB, they're just wrapping up their corridor management plan for the agritourism byway, Bountiful Byway. That's the main thing they're working on. They did send a survey out, and I know that you got the survey as well about what they're planning for next year. And that's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Fire District 12.
Nobody's here. Oh, John. John's here. Do you have a report for Fire District 12?
No, we have a meeting Thursday.
Meeting Thursday.
Actually, there's a couple things I wouldn't mind bringing up real quick, at least one of them. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because, Wayne, you put it up on Facebook about how sometimes we've got firefighters that go through some really drastic stuff, and they kind of bottle it up. That's what we do. And I told you, I answered back that here in Thurston County, we're putting together what's called a peers committee. This way, if you've got somebody to talk to, but you don't want to go talk to a doctor, you just want to talk to somebody that's, that you feel comfortable with. At this point, we've got about 17 different firefighters that are signed on to be those kind of counselors here in Thurston County. At my Chiefs Association meeting, I've got them speaking next Tuesday, as a matter of fact, to give us a better update on what's going on with that. I think that's rather important for us, and I've been something that I've been bringing up at our meetings as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Library, museum. Jessica, do you have a report from the museum?
Yeah, just real quick. We're open. I just throw that reminder out regularly. And also on November 21st, we are going to be having our annual Historical Society dinner, which we haven't had the last couple years, but that's at 6 o'clock at the First Presbyterian Church next Monday. And y'all are welcome. Just let us know what you're going to bring. And there's going to be a speaker also, so potluck. And I don't have the final answer on who the speaker is, but if it's the person I think it is, it's going to be fun. So.
Thank you. Finance Committee. Elaine, would you like to report on the Finance Committee?
I don't know what kind of report you want.
You could just say we met and
Well,
discussed.
we met, yeah. We met, I don't even remember the date now. Last Thursday we met.
Oh, okay.
And discussed,
Hey, I was there.
and discussed the budget, and still have a ways to go on it. And
Thank you.
do we need one more meeting on the Finance Committee?
That you guys can call one whenever you want. We typically have them quarterly, but it's budget season.
Yeah.
So we can have another one. Doesn't hurt.
Okay,
If you say when, we'll make it happen.
okay.
Okay.
I'll get together with Linda and see.
Okay. Planning Commission, Public Safety Committee, Chief of Police. Did you get a report from the Chief of Police?
I did. Would you like me to read it?
Yes, please.
I also have one from the library. Did we already skip that?
We did.
I'm sorry. She emailed it earlier.
Okay.
Do you want me to go back to that, or do you want me to read the chief of police?
Sure. You can do both.
Oh, super. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, I am not able to join you tonight as the library is a ballot drop-off point and we are open until polls close at 8 p.m. I am submitting this report so you have an idea of what's happening in our branch. All the libraries in Thurston County have partnered with the auditor's office for the voter assistance program. On Friday, Monday, and again today, we are available to help voters get registered to vote, print out a ballot, and as mentioned above, we are a place where people can drop off their ballots. I found it personally rewarding to help people access their right to vote. The Expanded Access Hours EAH project, which will allow people to access the library from 7 to 10 a.m. and 5 to 8 p.m. is closer to being implemented here in Tenino. The doors have been wired for after-hours access and the cameras are installed. There are several items in the contractor's need to address and a few housekeeping tasks related to the project that need to be done, but I'm hopeful that we will be signing people up for EAH in early 2023. We continue to offer in-person programming for all ages and encourage everyone to go to our library's webpage and check out under Events tab to see what's happening in Tenino as well as available virtual programs. Please feel free to get in touch if you have any questions. Sincerely, Linda McKinney, Library Manager. Okay. Chief of Police?
Yep, keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling. Chief of Police, SRO Officer Lee has completed the Washington State certification course and is now recognized as an FIEFL training officer. Grants. The grant required for charitable funds, approximately $78,000 from the Nisqually Indian tribe, is in the review process at the tribe. We hope to hear something by mid-December. Code enforcement is now operating out of the police department. Rainey is scheduled for his final class, which will grant him access to the criminal justice database so he can perform his duties. Officer Backus has officially started his FTO program. First phase is with Officer McClelland, then he will move on to Officer Lee. Director of Public Works. Wastewater treatment plant, no major issues. Looking at upgrades on the SCADA alarm system for next year. Projects, the new playground toys are in. We are waiting on concrete bids to come back still. Streets, we will be filling potholes this week and cleaning storm drains. Water, we're replacing filter media in the tanks at the wells this month. Other Ritter Street project, water line, and 4 connections are done. Northwest Cascade is working on concrete curbs and sidewalks, and the top course gravel for asphalt. Sussex Avenue water line started November 2nd, and they will be installing the water main, which should be done, I think, in the next week. Boom.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well done.
Thanks.
Park specialist.
Park specialist. You're back up.
Okay, so recently I turned in a grant for No Child Left Inside, so fingers crossed that we get that. I've applied to do some outdoor education next summer, possibly some day camps, some classes for kids, specifically Tenino elementary school age, so that's 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Partnering with the school district on that and the Friends of Tenino Parks. So hopefully that will happen. Also been kind of looking into webpage things, so specifically a Parks and Rec software, looking at Sportsman right now. If we were able to do that, it would really help us out with allowing people to pay for camping or the pool or renting facilities or registering for classes or day camps. So there's like a number of things that this software is capable of doing to help make it easier for some revenue in that area. And while I'm at it, I was also looking at some things we could do with the city webpage. And then today I put out a recreation survey. Just, we're talking about doing classes next summer beyond just what would be in the No Child Left Inside grant, also classes possibly for adults and other ages of kids. So I put out a survey to see what people in Tenino would like to see. So don't want to offer classes nobody's going to sign up for. So that's been posted on our webpage, and it's also been posted on Facebook. So we'll see where that goes. And that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Clerk Treasurer.
No update from me, just budget stuff. We're about to, do all the things that I've been working on.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My report is budget. That is what I have been focusing on, working with Jen, trying to get ready for 2023 and have information to provide you guys. Be that.
Just a reminder to do the surveys by November 15th. So.
Okay. Tenino School Board, Jessica.
Do you want me to
Here.
say something about that? Well,
Rachel's not here.
Yeah, Rachel's not here. So we just passed to change our boundaries for redistricting. So just some little tweaks, just to kind of more or less. They're very small changes, just to have everything even. And then in the last month, we also did some policy changes that will allow kids to get some school credit for doing community service. If it's approved and in line with something that they would be taking a class in, they can get some high school credit for that. And also, if they're doing like a league sport or something, they might be able to get PE credit. So those were 2 different things that also passed in the last month that I thought was pretty cool. So.
Yep. Thank you.
Big state football game this weekend.
Yeah.
Just saying.
2 minutes.
Yeah, big football game coming up.
Big deal. We got 2 minutes. Who's next? Did you say?
TRP.
TRPC and TPB.
Yes, sir.
I brought my light reading material so people at least feel the weight of it. We'll be talking, hey, how you doing? We'll be talking about the call for projects. We have a project in there, and Wayne mentioned it last time, for Old 99 to finally get that at least repaved, and to have a turn lane over by the, I believe the septic system, our plant. Nobody else has put in for that pot of money. Doesn't mean that we're going to get it, but the chances are a whole lot better than they've ever been since I've been on either of these two boards. So I believe tomorrow TPB makes the motion to send it back over to TRPC, and since I'm on both boards, we got a definite positive on those.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And that is all of our reports.
No, you don't have solid waste yet.
Yeah, perfect.
What's that?
Did you want a
Solid
solid?
waste?
Uh-huh.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
November 15th is National Recycle Day, and there are currently 4 contests underway in regards to recycling. Most of the meeting was budgets, like most cities and whatnot are doing right now. And that's all I have.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our reports.
And we're on time.
We are.
Perfect timing. All right, we got another 2 minutes before the meeting will begin.
Not according to this
Any
clock.
other,
We
that
got,
clock says 3?
Yeah.
Or 7?
Yeah, this clock
30?
says 7:30 here.
Okay, all right. Bang my gavel.
Oh, it lands on
Ladies
it.
and gentlemen. Well, yes, there you go. Thank you. Welcome November 8th, 9 City Council meeting. Let the records show that council members Davidson and Godovac are not present. All other council members are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have an agenda before us needing approval.
so moved.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Then we have the meeting minutes for 10/25/22.
Move approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes from the 10/25/22 meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to the consent calendar. Pull that up. This is payroll EFTs in the amount of $29,036.77. Claims checks number 39074 through 31003, and EFTs in the amount of $161,108.47, for a grand total of $190,145.24. No liquor and cannabis license renewals, and excusal of Councilmember Davidson and Councilmember Godovac. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. We have no executive session. We have no presentation. That brings us to public comment. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to provide public comment, now's your opportunity to do so. You'll be given 3 minutes.
Don't be shy.
Moving on, that brings us to our public hearing. State law provides that each municipality hold 2 public hearings prior to budget adoption in order to provide the opportunity for input by the public. Tonight's hearing will focus primarily upon revenue. Recommended action is to move to accept the administration recommendations on budget revenues as presented. So I will open the public hearing on revenue. The public hearing is for the public input and discussion of the 2023 budget revenue portion. This public hearing will proceed in an orderly fashion, and I would like to ask your cooperation in the following procedure. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. The clerk will be recording what is said. Therefore, when you address the council, please begin by stating your name and address. Before hearing from the audience, I'm going to introduce Ms. Jen Sharver, City's interim clerk treasurer, to present information about the budget. Ms. Sharver?
Can I just do it from here, since I'm manning all the things? Good evening, council members, mayor, and members of the public. This evening, I'm going to introduce you to the city's proposed 2023 budget with particular focus on revenues. I will begin with a discussion on the of the employed to arrive at our revenue and expenditure decisions. We have several different ways of arriving at our projections that I will explain. The first priority, revenues fixed by contract. For example, revenues from Tenino School District are fixed by contract. We know exactly what those revenues will be. Second priority is revenue projections provided by other agencies. For example, in the area of state-generated revenues, the Municipal Research and Service Center provides a calculator that can be used to compute the city's projected share of the state's revenues for criminal justice programs, marijuana enforcement, and liquor control board profits. The third priority, simple averaging. The majority of the projected revenues were arrived at by a simple arranging of the city's past record of expenses. Specifically, the actual revenues realized in 2019, 2020, and 2021 were also included in this comparison, and the budgeted vice actual amounts received in 2022. Where the budgeted amount exceeds the actual revenues, the budgeted amount was used in the averaging computations. Where the actual amount received exceeded the budget amount, actual revenues were used. In the area of license and permits, the figure presented for the business license renewals is the average from the years 2019 through 2021. Fourth priority, judgment and experience. In some cases, usually as a result of extreme variations in the years above mentioned, the budgeted amount for 2023 was either raised or lowered after conversations between the affected department head, the mayor, and the clerk treasurer. Some of the more important features in this budget are the overall 4% increase in wages and salaries for all city employees, as well as elected officials. We invite your questions for each line. Anybody?
At this time, the floor is open for comments from the audience. In fairness to all in attendance, each person will be given an opportunity to address the council for an initial period not to exceed 3 minutes. If more time is needed, it will be made available to everyone after that, after everyone has had a chance to speak. I am requesting council members hold their questions of the public until everyone is done. I'm not seeing anyone wanting to provide public testimony. Council members, do you have any questions of the audience or staff?
Just staff. Are you asking for approval as the first reading? Because from what I understand, we still have some pencil sharpening to do.
That's later on.
Okay,
That's under ordinances.
okay, just wanted
But no, not at this time.
okay,
First reading will be next meeting.
okay, good to know, thank you.
All right, this public hearing is now closed. Thank you. Item number 6, Thurston County has provided the assessed valuation and property tax worksheet for the purpose of calculating the ad valorem property tax for fiscal year 2023. The city will hold 2 public hearings as required by RCW 84.55 tonight, November 8th, and again on November 22nd. As is required to pass an ordinance adopting the 23 property tax by November 30th, 2022. So at this point, I will open a public hearing for ad valorem property taxes The public hearing is for public input and discussion of the 2023 ad valorem property taxes. This public hearing will proceed in an orderly fashion, and I would like to ask your cooperation in the following procedure. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. The clerk will be recording what is said. Therefore, when you address the council, please begin by stating your name and address. Before hearing from the audience, I'm going to introduce Ms. Jen Sharber, the city's interim clerk treasurer, to present information about the tax assessment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council members, mayor, and members of the public. This evening, I'm going to introduce you to the proposed ad valorem tax levy for 2023. The ad valorem tax levy is limited by the state legislature as the higher of the implicit price deflator, or the IAPD, which is similar to the Consumer Price Index, or 1%. This year, our statutory increase will be limited to 1.3% increase over last year. The steps used to compute the city's share of the ad valorem taxes are: 1, determine the regular property tax limit. The highest lawful levy, $309,663.24. B, times 101%, $312,759.87, 1% increase over last year's total assessed value. C is to compute the value of the new construction. 1, assessed value of new construction is $2,975,000. 2 times the 2022 rate, 1.6%. 3, amount for new construction, $1,000, and 4, the total regular levy. So you add all those together. I have a little math problem here, which I was going to put up there, but now we have the mayor to look at. So I will, it is on the agenda packet. 2, determine the highest lawful levy. The Washington state law allows local jurisdictions to levy a maximum of $3.60 per $1,000 of assessed value. Local jurisdictions include cities, fire districts, and library districts. The city, as a senior taxing authority, must reduce the amount of its levy in proportion to the amount assessed by the junior taxing authorities, Fire District 12 and the Timberland Regional Library District. A, maximum levy allowed by statute is 3.6. B, Fire District levy 1.37. Library District levy is 0.28. The highest lawful levy is 3.60. The total 2022 assessed value is $233,562 and $364. The statutory rate limit is $1.93, and the statutory maximum is $452,862. Determining the actual levy, the regular levy limit is $318,748.75. The highest lawful levy is $320,006.34. This year's regular levy would represent an increase of $8,647.16, which is wholly inadequate to our needs. I will pass this around to you, council members, to take a look at that.
It's on the computer.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was gonna say,
perfect. They have it. They're looking at it.
okay. I was gonna say, I think it was,
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
it was in a
At this
different,
time, the floor is open for comments from the audience. In fairness to all in attendance, each person will be given an opportunity to address the council for an initial period not to exceed 3 minutes. If more time is needed, it will be made available after everyone has had a chance to speak. I'm requesting the council members hold their questions of the public until everyone is done. Is there anyone that would like to provide public testimony? Council members, do you have any questions of audience or staff?
Staff,
Yes, sir.
or you, either way. The last couple of years, we have not been able to reach the full 1% for the ad valorem. Were we able to reach that this year, or are we still under the 1%?
We're still under because it actually went down, I think, because of the population.
Mm-hmm.
So,
gets spread out more. I just wanted to bring that up because all those numbers there starts getting a little bit confusing when you break it down.
Yeah.
This is what we're allowed to charge for, and now people are seeing that. We just heard that it actually went down a little bit. It makes all those numbers a lot more understandable. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. The public testimony of this hearing is now closed, and I will now close the public hearing. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jen.
Next time when you give all the other reports, you got to use voices.
yeah. I'll work on that.
Next, we have preliminary plat approval for the Tenino Ag Park. This is a request to subdivide city-owned 20.07 acre parcels on public, semi-public into 5 lots. 1 housing the existing water treatment plant and 4 for future development. Also included are tracks from storm drainage and third access parking. Is Dan Penrose here to present?
He absolutely is. Are you going to the podium?
All right, Mr. Penrose, you have the floor.
Whatever you want to do, sir.
State your name and former social security number.
Yeah. Dan Penrose, contract planner for City of Tenino. It's good to see you all here tonight. I'll go ahead and read in the staff recommendation and note that the Planning Commission did review this item, so it has been through that process. The Planning Commission recommends that the City Council approve preliminary plat PSD 2022-001 for a 5-lot subdivision based on finding that the request meets all applicable standards set forth in the Tenino Municipal Code with the following conditions. Number 1, prior to obtaining a site development permit, the applicant shall demonstrate compliance with the city's stormwater requirements and ensure facilities are installed to contain all runoff on site. Number 2, a note must be placed on the final plat indicating that the site is within a critical aquifer recharge area and that the site is adjacent to an existing mining resource. Number 3, prior to final subdivision approval, an integrated pest and vegetation management policy must be prepared and approved by Thurston County Environmental Health. Number 4, prior to commencing any land disturbing activities, the applicant must obtain a site development permit. Number 5, prior to final occupancy of any buildings constructed on the lots, frontage improvements shall be installed per Title 114 requirements. Number 6, concurrent with final plat, adequate provisions for ownership and maintenance of the common areas shall be recorded with the Thurston County Auditor. Such provisions must address ownership, right of use, responsibility for maintenance, remedies in the event of any of the responsible parties failing to perform, and procedures for modification or vacation of easements or tracts and associated facilities not required as a condition of the land division approval. Those conditions that are before you this evening are very similar to the ones that the Planning Commission reviewed. The Planning Commission heard public testimony from those in the audience that evening, as well as 2 comments that were made during the comment period. And several of those comments and some of the public testimony resulted in the addition of a few items of note into those conditions, including a comment from Miles Sand and Gravel, which is the property owner adjacent to the west and to the south, and the Department of Ecology, which was essentially a boilerplate comment letter that they send out for applications like this. So those pieces have been incorporated into the conditions per the Planning Commission's review and recommendation for approval to the council for this preliminary plat. There are a number of conditions that are within your code in Title 108 and 114. All of those conditions have been met, and I'm happy to take any questions you might have on the staff report or the preliminary approval that the Planning Commission has recommended to you. So I can take those questions and also note that As part of the process, we don't do a lot of preliminary plats in Tenino, but if you recall from Hidden Meadows or previous applications, preliminary plats allow the developer to go in and start doing things on the property to prepare it for development and for sale. When the conditions of the preliminary plat are met, then I come back before you with a staff report and request final plat approval, and so that's what I would expect to do within the next number of months once the applicant has met the conditions within the preliminary plat staff report and recommendations from Planning Commission. So with that, I will take whatever questions you have, and then you can deliberate.
Can we,
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions of staff?
this is yours, right? You want to come up and? Yeah, please.
Hello, everybody. Perry Shea, 14307 Barlow Drive, Southwest Tenino. And I'm not the applicant, the city's the applicant, but I am a future proponent to build the first building in the park.
Okay. Then the reason that I asked you to come up and speak is to make that clarification, because I've known you for what, 20 some odd years? So at this point, I don't have to disqualify myself from taking a vote on this, because it's us that's doing it, not you.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, if that happens, then we don't have a quorum.
Well, it's not going to happen. It doesn't need to happen. And actually, we would, because you'd have to be the tiebreaker. No, we wouldn't have a quorum. Okay. In any event, it's not an issue. It's not an issue.
Yeah, the conditions.
So I move approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right, if there are no further questions for staff, we'll move on. Recommended action is to approve preliminary plat PSD 2022-0001 for a 5-lot subdivision based upon finding that the request meets all applicable standards set forth in the Tenino Municipal Code. And this is the city is the requester to do this preliminary plat subdivision, and it's on city property. So we would like to entertain a motion at this time.
Already did. Got a first and a second.
Did you hear that?
They were a little ahead
John
of
did
you.
it and
No.
Lawton seconded.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the preliminary plat, 5-lot subdivision. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to resolutions. This is proposed resolution
Thanks, Dan.
2022-06. It would establish the ad valorem tax levy for 2023. This resolution would authorize the collection of $318,748.75, representing a dollar increase of $3,842.87 over last year's levy, which is 1.24% increase in property tax revenues and represents the highest lawful levy the city may impose absent a voter-approved levy lid lift. Our recommended action is to review and approve the ad valorem tax levy, first public hearing.
Move approval.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, it's just a reminder. This is something that we go through every year. It's considered basic housekeeping. If we don't say yes to this, we don't get the money.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to ordinance 924, second reading and adoption. This is an ordinance of the City of Tenino amending Chapter 2.80, Arts, Recreation, and Culture History Commission. His recommended action is to review and approve second reading and adoption of ordinance 924.
Move approval of adoption.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the second reading and adoption of ordinance 924. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to public comment period number 2. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comment, now is your opportunity to do so. All right. Announcements. Are there any announcements for the good of the order?
Crickets.
All right. That brings us to adjournment. Thank you, everybody, for playing.
Non-debatable motion.
Thanks for not getting an emergency.
What?
I'm glad you didn't get an emergency.
Here.